Hello and welcome to our very first episode of Nomifactory Let's Play. What exactly is Nomifactory? It is a quest-driven expert pack focused on building large-scale factories. Now, these factories are not my factories, they are actually just what spawns in the overworld. It is focused mainly on automation as you climb through the Gregtech progression tree, which is quite daunting. The pack takes around 500 to 700 hours. Now, that being said, I am a new dad and I don't actually fully expect us to complete the pack. Rest assured, I'm not going to be taking that content and just directly uploading it to YouTube. No, hopefully you guys will get the fun and exciting parts about it. What exactly is the goal of the series? Let's talk a little bit about that. It's a little bit hard to put a solid goal down since the pack is so gigantic and complex. Instead, we're going to be putting down smaller, more attainable goals. That being said, our current big goal is to reach the moon. Yes, we can reach the moon. So yeah, that's going to be one of our first huge goals that we're going to work towards. But there is an endless amount of things to do. Let's see what are our smaller goals for the time being. Our focus will be completing Chapter 2, which is called The Beginning. This includes a bunch of low voltage to medium voltage machines, which we will need to basically get our infrastructure set up to advance to the higher tiers. Gregtech has tons of different voltage systems, and our first voltage system that we are going to be starting out with is low voltage, which we will then progress into medium voltage machines and blast furnace. One last thought before we get into today's episode. This is our first time playing with Gregtech. I'm gonna be learning. This means tons of mistakes and doing things wrong. But I'm here to have fun and take you guys along for the ride. Let's get into today's episode. At this point, you might be thinking to yourself, did I miss episode 1? Don't stress, this is episode 1. We're currently actually 16 hours into the game. Making some videos for the series really only came to me last night. So I'm gonna do a quick little recap to show you guys what's happened in the last 16 hours. I obviously don't have footage of that, but this is where we started out in the overworld, which is basically a world just filled with factories. We do most of our mining over here, but we actually entered the void dimension. Welcome to our base. This is very primitive and it does not look very great, but hey, it gets the job done. We've got a little bit of a downstairs area as well here with an enchanting setup. Up here we've got some furnaces, some crafting tables, a big storage system here on the left. It is not particularly in great storage, but we're just storing a lot of stuff here. And then over here we've got all our resources that we've gathered up to this point. Now, this might look like a ton of stuff, but trust me, it is not a lot of stuff. And we've got a few basic machines set up over here, which I will also get into. Now, if we take a look at our quest book, under Genesis, which is actually the first chapter, I've actually done most of this stuff. It really explains the basic premise of the pack and a few things that it's needed to get started into the pack. So there's nothing really groundbreaking other than some batch crafting, some of the basic starter tools we're going to need in the series, how to make a backpack, first bit of power production, how to make steel, our first machines, and that's pretty much it for chapter 1. Which takes us directly into the beginning, which is our second chapter, making the wire mill, LV lathe, and the bending machine. The wire mill makes wires for us. The bending machine gives us steel plates. We also have the lathe, which helps us make steel rods, and the alloy smelter, which we have not used yet. And that is pretty much it. Like, there really has been just a lot of mining and figuring it out. All right, now that you guys are all caught up, let's get crafting. Most of the quest rewards actually gives you Nominickels. Now, Nominickels can be used to acquire various different amounts of items depending on the configuration. For instance, here we can get rubber tree saplings. You can get some types of ores. So this is generally used for stuff that you are really just unable to find in world. And for now, we've basically just been storing them in a barrel. We currently have 45 of them. We also completed the alloy smelter. Alright, so for the rest of today's episode, I've written down a few goals of things that we need to get done. Firstly, we have to up our power output, up our power storage, our fuel source. After that, we're going to be focusing on our first big multi-block, the blast furnace, which is the power to smelt more advanced materials, specifically aluminium, which is important in the immediate future. For that, we're going to need an assembler to create robotic arms, because it's quite a complicated craft. I think it will be our most complicated recipe up to date. And we are also going to need the alloy smelter to create bronze, invar, and cupronickel. Luckily enough, we already have a alloy smelter set up and ready to go. Unfortunately, our power is really not cutting it. So we're going to start off by our first goal over here, which is going to be upping our power output, storage, and fuel source. Let's get into it. So I'm probably going to be shooting myself in the foot, but for now, I don't exactly know what kind of base design we're going for. If you guys have any cool ideas, please comment down below any cool base idea designs that you guys want us to maybe go for. I'm still looking for an overarching theme. For the time being, we're going to do it quick and dirty. We're going to extend one of these platforms. I've been working inside of chunk boundaries, as you can see, to make sure that each of these squares is within a chunk. So we are going to keep doing that and extend our tree farm basically out one more chunk to the left. That is our tree farm all done. All that's left to do is chop off these old trees. Nomifactory is pretty nice. We have a mod installed that allows us to chop one tree and all connected wood blocks disappear. The crafting station is one of the main early game components of crafting. You can lock in specific recipes. So let's say I want to make another hammer or another rod. I can just click on these and it will automatically pull the inputs that we need. So it's really helpful for crafting a little bit more complicated recipes like circuits, robotic arms, motors that we need a ton of. A good example of where we have a locked in recipe, click on it, tells us we need a steel axe head. We have all of these, put the axe head down, grab ourselves a new steel axe. There we go. I could repair these tools, but I'm currently saving my XP to repair our diamond mining hammer, which is pretty nice actually. It's got a Fortune 2 and auto smelt on there, so that's actually been helping us a ton. For now, we're just going to keep planting our rubber trees over here where the old tree farm was. After a little bit of waiting, look at all this wood. Just listen to that. Oh, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Okay, let's see how much wood we got from this. Wow. Right, I'm gonna replant these. These are our copper furnaces that we have currently. And we're gonna pop this wood in here. And basically, the plan is to just keep doing this. Planting saplings, harvesting wood in between as we are doing the rest of the stuff. And then all of our excess wood, I'm gonna keep some for crafting. Okay, so that is our first objective done for the day. Fuel source, which is going to be trees. Next up, we got to work on power output and our power storage. Currently, our only source of power generation is the steam dynamo. This needs a water source and a fuel source to run. It is producing 40 RF per tick. Gregtech machines cannot use RF power. They use what is called EU, which is energy units, as you can see in the top left corner over there. So we need something to change the RF energy into EU energy. That's where the LV energy converter comes in. Now the conversion ratio is every 4 RF turns into 1 EU, meaning that 40 RF produces 10 EU per tick. And we've got that stored in a low voltage battery buffer. Currently we're using lithium batteries, which are actually pretty good. They store 120,000 EU per battery. And we can then output that into our system. So this will stay low voltage. I did a little bit of calculation since it was a little bit complex to figure out how much power these machines use. So we need a minimum of 200 EU per tick if we want to be running all three. And I think we are actually going to be running these a lot, since we are going to need tons of wires, plates, and rods. So I want to be able to run these basically all the time. Our electrical blast furnace is also going to be running off power. So according to that, we need a minimum of 5 steam dynamos to run all 3 machines at the same time. So I'm thinking we hook up 3 more to this one, which puts us on 4 steam dynamos, and we make an additional 4. So that's going to be 7 total. I think it's time I introduce you guys to the electric prospector scanner. We got this little tool as a quest reward early on, but it is basically what we use to scan for ores to mine in the world. So in order to create our steam dynamo, we're going to need a redstone transmission coil, which requires silver rod, which requires silver. And the only way to get silver right now is through galena ore. We can open this thing up with right click. It'll scan all the ores in the area. We can look for our ore, hit galena, and then run to that spot. Somehow I've misplaced my glider that I had, and we don't actually have the leather currently. So I'm just going to dig down, and we're going to mine some silver. The reason we're going for galena ore is it's one of the few places where silver ore spawns currently. I'll see you guys after the mining trip. Alright, I've pretty much mined out all the silver I can see. Ooh, there's one little ingot left over here. And this is pretty much the aftermath. Now that we have all the resources we need, the first thing we're going to be crafting is the 7 steam dynamos. All we have to do is pop these in here. They'll automatically start bending. We're going to need rods as well. That's going to be these over here. And these 2 machines are running. We've got a small storage crate at the top with a hopper that directly inputs into the basic bending machine. And then at the bottom of our machine, we have actually installed a conveyor module that allows it to extract. Here's all the plates we're gonna need. That's all the wires. All right, now that we've got everything gathered up, let's get crafting. So let's start out with the excitation coils. We need 14 of these. That should be 7 excitation coils, which is lovely. Next up, we're going to need 7 transmission coils, which is where we needed the silver. 7 iron furnaces, wrought iron gears. Now, for this, we need a wrench, as you can see. So I don't have a wrench on me in my inventory, but I can go over to any of these workbenches, and you'll see they've got various amount of tools. These tools, a lot of these recipes require the tools for use, if that makes sense. So you need the screwdriver, neutronium file, neutronium hammer. So yeah, for this recipe we need the wrench. So we're just going to do this here. We have all of these, and we need 14 of these. I need to make more. If we have everything, that should be 7 extra steam dynamos. Beautiful. Next up, we're going to make the LV energy converter and the low voltage battery buffer. Both of them need an LV machine hull, so we'll start out with that. Get some rubber, pretty easy. There we go, beautiful. It's the 4 tin cables we need. That's 1. Yeah, that's the 2 LV machine hulls. Battery buffer first. There'll be 4 tin cable. 4 of these. And I believe a chest, and that's the low voltage battery buffer. Done. 4 of these. The thin cable done. Next up, we need a red alloy cable. We already have an electronic circuit. I batch crafted a few of these early on. LV energy converter. Beautiful. We are going to need some batteries as well. Lead and antimony give us battery alloy plate, which is what we want. Ratio is 4:1, so that gives us 16 battery alloy dust. We can just pop these in our smelters. We're just going to throw these in the plate bending machine. Alright, our battery alloy plates are officially finished. Now we can finish up our batteries, which is a pretty easy recipe. It looks like I actually made quite a bit more than I needed. But here goes. 4 small battery hulls. Our last step is to add lithium dust. I don't think we actually have any lithium at the moment. The only way to find lithium according to the book is in tungsten veins, which I have not been able to spot. So for now we're going to use some Nominicals. Recipe would be lithium ore, and we can just smelt this up real quick. Right, lithium dust is ready to go. 4 small lithium batteries. Alright, I think we have everything we need in order to get our power setup increased. Right now, I've decided to build out this little platform down here. All of these steam dynamos are going to need both water and coal. I've put a charcoal drawer down here, so our first item of business will be to get charcoal into all of these. So I've got these 10 item pipes, which can transfer 16 items per second, which is actually pretty crazy if you think about it. So we're going to hook up these little tin cables on the top. State to import, because it's importing into the pipe. So now these are all filling up with charcoal, which is lovely. Okay, so step 1 done. Next up, we need to make sure that all of these are connected with fluid pipes. Alright, so these should be filling up with water, which it looks like it's actually holding on. That is correct. So these are all building up internal storage buffers. They seem to be running. And that has actually worked. LV energy converters are going to go down. You notice I've put the 2 battery buffers not really connected to each other. The reason being is one of these batteries outputs 1 amps. So in total, this low voltage battery buffer with 4 batteries in will output 4 amps into our tin cable. And if we take a look at our low voltage tin cable, it can take up to 4 amperage maximum. So if we exceed that, this cable would burn and explode. So for the time being, we can run 4 machines on this tin cable, and we're going to have another 4 cables up here to run 4 more machines and make sure that these are not connected. But this system is pretty much automated. All we have to do now is pop in our charcoal over here, and everything is set to go. In order to get to our blast furnace, we're going to need a few items. So we've already got the alloy smelter hooked up and ready to go. So I want to start letting these resources cook up. So we already have nickel. We need to now get Invar and copper nickel. Invar is pretty easy to make. It is in our alloy smelter, 2 iron, 2 nickel dust. That's pretty easy. And then in order to make the copper nickel, we can also do that in the alloy smelter. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. We're going to do 64 copper. That is a crazy sound. And we're going to let these start cooking up in the alloy smelter. Alright, we have made a stack of bronze ingots, 2 stacks of copper nickel. Is that even how you say that? And 1.5 stacks of Invar. That should get us, yeah, copper nickel quest. Perfect. The robot arms over here. I've been doing a little bit of preparation so long. We're going to need circuits, we're going to need electric pistons and electric motors. I still have a few circuits left from earlier that we will take. Okay, turns out we have enough electric motors, so we're just going to need 3 more LV electric pistons. For electric pistons, this is the craft bench we use. And there we go, 8 LV electric pistons. So we're going to call this LV electric arms. Perfect. In here, we're going to need these components, some tin cables. Again, you know what, might as well grab a bunch of them. Tin cables and some steel rods, which I do believe we actually have queued up over here. We're going to say LV robotic arms, and there we go, 8 of them. We'll lock that recipe in. That should complete the quest. Now that we've got the basic assembling machine done, we are finally able to make our cupronical coils. We can now pop down our assembling machine and our basic extractor. We're doing pretty good on charcoal. I've been chopping down these trees and just keeping the furnaces basically running all the time. That we have the assembler done. We've got robot arms done. The next part, we've got the alloy smelter, the bronze, the invar, and the cupronical. All that's left is to get the blast furnace. Decided to get ourselves a basic compressor. I'm gonna put that down. Currently we are struggling a little bit on rubber, so instead of using 2 sticky resins to 1 rubber, what we can do now, pop our sticky resin in there. Quite a loud machine. I found out a little secret. If you hit your machines with a hammer, you can actually mute them. Now this machine's running, we are getting rubber. That's actually really quick. Now in order to extract from this machine, we need to have one of our conveyor modules. We right click that and it should automatically extract our rubber sheets. Beautiful. Alright, in order to make our first step of the blast furnace, we're gonna need cupronical coil blocks, which is 8 bronze foil, 2x cupronical wires. 8 of those makes 1 cupronical coil in our assembler, but we also need tin alloy. Now in order to make tin alloy, we are gonna have to use the extractor. We can use that on a tin alloy ingot, which is made in our alloy smelter with iron ingots and tin dust. Alright, these are all crafted up. Let's let that run and that'll automatically output. We have it configured with a pump into our machine over here, and we should be able to pop these in there. Fantastic. Our first copper nickel coil. Now all that's left over is to make the blast furnace. Now, all that's left is to assemble this thing. Alright, our blast furnace is ready to run. If you guys want to know how to set up the electric blast furnace yourself, the main component has to be in the center. Then it needs 1 input and output bus. Those are for items. It needs 1 input and output hatch. Those are for liquids. Then it needs 2 LV energy hatches and 1 maintenance hatch. Now once the structure is complete, you're going to have to go into this maintenance hatch. Make sure you have 1 of each tool in your hand, and you're going to hit left click in here. That's going to finish the maintenance and make sure that the machine's ready to run. 2 layers of 8 cupronical coil blocks surrounding the top part with heat-proof invar machine casings, and in the middle want to make sure you have your input LV hatch. And that's pretty much all you need to get this thing running. We can now import items on this side and it should start pumping aluminum dust. And there we go, our very first aluminium ingot. I did come to realize that the blast furnace actually needs medium voltage to run. Now since we can't produce medium voltage at this moment, I've upgraded all of these 4 extern cables to 8 extern cables. These can run 8 amps, so remember these low voltage battery buffers outputs 4 amps each, meaning we now have 8 amps running on this network. Now the reason our machines aren't exploding is because it's still running low voltage. Each of these machines are only requesting 1 amp at a time. So we have 8 amps effectively through this cable. Each of these LV energy hatches can accept 4 amps. So 2 times 4 amps is 8 amps of low voltage, which is in turn medium voltage. Hence, this machine can run. Alright, that's gonna be it for episode 1 of our Nomifactory Let's Play series. If you guys enjoyed the episode, please hit the like button and consider subscribing for more Nomifactory content. This video did take me much longer than it should have. I've spent over 30 hours on this episode, including the editing, and I have to say it was extremely enjoyable, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.